of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, His Majesty the Sultan exchanges greetings through phone calls with several leaders of Arab countries and receives cables of greetings from a number of officials in the Sultanate of Oman. And the gross domestic product of the Sultanate of Oman increases last year to over 38 billion Omani riyals. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq issued 3 royal decrees reading as follows. Royal Decree number 23/2024 on establishing Al Jabal Al Gharbi Natural Reserve. Article 1 stipulates that a nature reserve named Al Jabal Al Gharbi Natural Reserve shall be established and that it shall be allocated the areas whose dimensions are indicated in the attached annex and map. Article 2 states that the chairman of the Environment Authority shall issue the regulations and decisions necessary for the enforcement of this decree in coordination with the bodies concerned on condition that the regulations and decisions include the method of management of the natural reserve and regulations organizing public members' entry to the reserve, as well as the prescribed fees, the times of visit, permissible and banned activities, and administrative penalties applicable in each case. Article 3. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into effect on the following day of its publishing. Royal Decree number 24/2024 establishes Al-Dhahira Natural Reserve. Article 1 stipulates that a nature reserve named Al-Dhahira Natural Reserve shall be established and that it shall be allocated the areas whose dimensions are indicated in the attached annex and map. Article 2 states that the chairman of the Environment Authority shall issue the regulations and decisions necessary for the enforcement of this decree in coordination with the bodies concerned on condition that the regulations and decisions include the method of management of the natural reserve and regulations organizing public members' entry to the reserve, as well as the prescribed fees, the times of visit, permissible and banned activities, and administrative penalties applicable in each case. Article 3. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into effect on the following day of its publishing. Royal Decree number 25/2024 establishes Wahat Al-Braymi Natural Reserve. Article 1 stipulates that a nature reserve named Wahat Al-Braymi Natural Reserve shall be established and it shall be allocated the areas whose dimensions are indicated in the attached annex and map. Article 2 states that the chairman of the Environment Authority shall issue the regulations and decisions necessary for the enforcement of this decree in coordination with the departments concerned on condition that the regulations and decisions include the method of management of the natural reserve and regulations organizing public members' entry to the reserve, as well as the prescribed fees, the times of visit, permissible and banned activities, and administrative penalties applicable in each case. Article 3. This decree shall be published in the official gazette and shall come into effect on the following day of its publishing. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq exchanged greetings on the advent of Eid al-Fitr during phone calls with His Majesty King Hamad bin Isa Al Khalifa of the Kingdom of Bahrain, His Highness Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, Emir of the State of Qatar, His Highness Sheikh Mish'al Al Ahmad Al Jaber Al Sabah, Emir of the State of Kuwait, His Majesty King Abdullah II Ibn Al Hussein of the Hashemiyat Kingdom of Jordan, and His Excellency President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi of the Arab Republic of Egypt, His Majesty the Sultan expressed his sincere greetings and best wishes to the leaders, wishing them good health, happiness, and a long life. He prayed to the Almighty Allah to bring back this auspicious occasion with plenty of blessings and well-being for the leaders and their people. For their part, the leaders expressed their sincere sentiments to His Majesty the Sultan, wishing him good health, happiness, and a long life. They prayed to the Almighty Allah for many returns of this auspicious occasion. They also wished Omani people further progress and prosperity under the wise leadership of His Majesty the Sultan. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq received greetings from a number of officials in the Sultanate of Oman on the occasion of the blessed Eid al-Fitr. They all extended to His Majesty the Sultan their utmost greetings, coupled with sincere wishes to return this blessed occasion on His Majesty and the Omani people with more progress and welfare, and the dear country with further security and development under the wise leadership of His Majesty the Sultan. His Majesty received greetings from His Highness Sayyid Fahd bin Mahmoud Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister for the Council of Ministers. His Highness Sayyid Shihab bin Tariq Al Said, Deputy Prime Minister for Defense Affairs. His Excellency Sayyid Khalid bin Hilal Al Busaidi, Minister of the Diwan of the Royal Court. His Excellency General Sultan bin Mohammed Al Nu'mani, Minister of Royal Office and Head of the Office of the Supreme Commander. His Excellency Sheikh Abdul Malik bin Abdullah Al Khalili, Chairman of the State Council. His Excellency Khalid bin Hilal Al Ma'wali, Chairman of Shura Council. His Excellency Lieutenant General Hassan bin Muhsin Al Shariqi, Inspector General of Police and Customs. His Excellency Lieutenant General Saeed bin Ali Al Hilali, Head of Internal Security Services. More than 38 billion Omani riyals is the size of the gross domestic product of the Sultanate of Oman by the end of 2023. The Ministry of Economy said that the domestic product at the constant prices witnessed a growth of 1,300%. It's expected that the Omani economy will continue to grow during the current and next years, in light of expectations of continued good levels of oil prices, good performance of non-oil activities, and the permanent development of new initiatives that enhance the diversification efforts. Oman Air launched its flight schedule for the summer of 2024 to about 40 direct destinations from Muscat, including domestic Gulf, Arab, and Far East, Indian subcontinent, Europe, and African destinations. Oman Air indicated that the local destinations include the Muscat-Salalah route with a rate of 24 weekly flights and Muscat-Khasab with a rate of 6 weekly flights. Following the withdrawal of Israeli forces, residents of Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip have started returning only to discover their homes devastated in ruins. Israeli troops were withdrawn from southern Gaza in preparation for a possible operation in the city of Rafah. Israel withdrew all ground troops from southern Gaza, except for the Nahal Brigade, which remains in the central Gaza, splitting the strip into two and preventing the return of civilians from the south to the north. Nearly 400,000 people lived in and around the city before the Israeli aggression broke out on October 7, 2023. Much of the area is now in ruins after months of bombardment. Overwhelmed by despair, many people expressed a profound sense of hopelessness upon witnessing the scenes of devastation. U.S. Secretary of Treasury Janet Yellen once again stressed the issue of overcapacity after concluding her meetings with Chinese officials today. Speaking to reporters at the U.S. ambassador's residence in Beijing, Yellen said China's economic overcapacity could harm foreign firms. China is now simply too large for the rest of the world to absorb this enormous capacity. Actions taken by the People's Republic of China today can shift world prices, and when the global market is flooded by artificially cheap Chinese products, the viability of American and other foreign firms is put into question, she said. Chinese government subsidies and the other policy support have encouraged solar panel and EV makers in China to invest in factories, building far more production capacity than the domestic market can absorb. While that has driven down prices for consumers, Western governments fear that the capacity will flood their markets with low-priced exports, threatening American and European jobs. China has repeatedly criticized the U.S. for overstretching the concept of national security in handling economic and trade disputes, including in areas of semiconductors and more recently EVs. Local authorities in the Russian city of Orsk, severely hit by flooding from the Ural River, ordered the evacuation of more people from the city today. More than 6,600 houses were flooded, the city's mayor said in his telegram, including 25 schools and kindergartens. He also said that more than 1,000 people were relocated to temporary accommodation centers. Orsk, less than 20 kilometers or less than 13 miles north of the border with Kazakhstan, suffered the brunt of floods that caused the dam to break on Friday. A criminal probe has been launched to investigate suspected construction violations that may have caused the dam to break. Local authorities said the dam could withstand water levels up to 5.5 meters, nearly 18 feet high. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's news bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq issues 3 royal decrees. On the advent of the blessed Eid al-Fitr, His Majesty the Sultan exchanges greetings through phone calls with several leaders of the Arab countries and receives cables of greetings from a number of officials in the Sultanate of Oman. And the gross domestic product of the Sultanate of Oman increases last year to over 38 billion Omani riyals. With that, we come to the end of tonight's news bulletin from all of us here at the newsroom and the studios. Thank you for watching and have a good night.